This is The Road Show, and I'm your host, David Warren. Our guest today is Margo Bush of Bush Publishing. As we get started, let me read from the back cover of her new book, Dream Big, Live Big. Margo says, many businesses that open today will close within 1 to 5 years from their launch date. With all the networking, webinars, and readily available information, business owners still struggle to make it. Why is this? After a life-changing loss in her personal life, Margo Bush faced a make-or-break moment that determined her success in life and in business. Through first-hand coaching, mentorship, and seeking why some businesses make it while others fail, Margo began applying the principles to her own business. Within 3 months, she was tripling her profits, and by the end of the year, she had paid off all of the equipment in her 4,200 square foot manufacturing facility. The discoveries she made are captured here in this book to help other small business owners thrive, no matter what the economy looks like. At this time, let's welcome to the program Margo Bush of Bush Publishing.
Thank you, David, so much for having me on. I'm incredibly excited about sharing this book, and I just really believe that it's going to help so many people. It helped me. It's my story. It's what brought me to this place. So thank you for having me on.
You are welcome. I'm glad you're here with us today, Margo. I read in the intro about a life-changing loss that you suffered, I guess, and it was a make or break moment, or caused that make or break moment of what to do next. Let's hear the Margo Bush story.
Well, it was a make or break moment. It was a Tuesday night, and I was in my office. Bill and I owned a publishing company. We'd started it in 2000. And I got a phone call around 6 o'clock. And of course, I answered it. Bill hadn't been in all day. And so the gentleman on the other end of the line said, hello, are you Margo Bush? And I said, yes, I am. And he said, I am from the police department. Are you about ready to come home? And I said, well, yes, is Bill and Casey okay? That's my youngest son. And he said, well, that's what we want to talk about. I want you to just take your time. Don't rush. I will be here at home, ready to greet you when you get here. Click.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I guess he didn't really want me to ask any more questions. And so I ran around my 4,200 square foot office space and began to lock all the doors and turn off all the lights. And I began to make my way home, and it was about a 20-minute drive. And you can only imagine. I mean, all kinds of things, who hit who, not that anybody ever hit anybody, but just, what has happened? Has somebody found drugs, which has never happened in our home before, but all kinds of things. Just, is somebody sick? Has one of the boys been taken to the hospital? What's wrong? Never in a million years did I even cross my mind what I was getting ready to encounter. So I got near to my home, and, I could see the lights. I mean, all of the police lights, the, ambulances and everything were lit up like a Christmas tree in our neighborhood, to the point where I had to drive into my neighbor's driveway in order just to get into the driveway. And I was met by a police officer, and they formed a gauntlet to my car door. And
what is that?
Well, I mean, the police, there was so many police there that they didn't want me going outside of it, so they all lined up to my front door.
Okay.
So, super kind, but just a gauntlet. And, now I know why, because the police, the captain, he escorted me up to the front door, where I was greeted by another gentleman that said, "Are you Miss Bush?" And I said, "Yes, I am. Where is Bill?" And he escorted me into my home, and I was met by a chaplain. And So, and my family was against the wall. And he said, I'm sorry, Miss Bush, but Bill's dead. And never in a million years do you ever expect that, I was 49. And so, especially at 49, you never expect you're going to be a widow at 49. So it really did happen for me that my past, present, and future flashed before my eyes, because I just thought about how precious the moments were, that of all the things that we did with the boys. We'd traveled the world, preach, ministered, we'd pastored churches, we had taught at Rhema Bible Training Center, and those were going to be precious moments, and they really they flooded me. But I also thought about my future, because all of the things that we had planned to do, it wasn't going to be with him. And we were just getting ready to take a church in Nebraska. And, but my present.
You mentioned your son. Was he okay?
Yeah, Casey, I have two sons. One is Adam, and he was already out of the house. My youngest was Casey, and he was 17. And he met me at the door, and it was tough. Yeah, it was tough.
Do you want to share what happened to your husband?
Yes. He was, Casey came in that day, and he found him, on the floor, face down, and he had had a massive heart attack. That's, what's on the death certificate. It must have hit him hard, because he really hit the floor hard. But the hard part is Casey found him, and 911 went in. He'd been dead 9 hours, so it was tough, Casey finding him, because it's not a pretty picture.
Well, your husband, I remember Bill.
Yeah.
Your husband and you were not only ministers, but we've talked about the fact that you are the founder of Bush Publishing, really the co-founder, because Bill and you started the publishing business together. What year was that?
2000. September of 2000 we started.
Okay, so now he has gone to heaven.
Yeah.
And you have this company, Bush Publishing.
Yeah.
Employees.
Yeah.
Bills.
Yeah. And no life insurance, because my life insurance policy was sitting on my desk. And I can remember sitting on that couch thinking, I haven't signed the life insurance policy. And Bill had told me to. So it was scary, because we weren't prepared. I wasn't prepared. He wasn't prepared. And that's it's the reason why I started the businesses I started, because when you're at that moment, I just felt like, after the funeral and after everything, comes home, and you're alone and you're by yourself, and you're dealing with a child, a 17-year-old that's lost his father. And then Adam, he's lost his father, but it's a major change in our whole family. We're not prepared. And so I took over the publishing company. But here's the thing, David, I didn't know how to run a company. There's something about being second in command that I love. I always loved it. I was a pastor's wife for 28 years. I loved it. Some people say it's not so fun, but I loved it, And even in the publishing company, I didn't run it. You work hard. You definitely work hard, but it's not like you're the boss. So now I have to make money. I have to take care of the family.
Why did you decide to keep Bush Publishing instead of selling it and going to the mall and doing retail?
I prayed about it. I felt like I had two options, and only two options. You have to think about it. I only knew since I was 20, being a pastor's wife and living in the four walls of a church or ministering. That's really all I knew. Now I look back and I think I could have run a company, because I ran a church of 500 to 800 people, but at that time I didn't. And I prayed about it, and the Lord said, I want you to take the publishing company and I want you to build it. And I'm going to teach you how.
What was that first year like?
The first year was amazing only because of God. It could have been terrible. I remember laying on my bed and saying, God, you have got to send me somebody that will teach me how to do business. If you want me to keep it, you're going to have to teach me how to do business. And I was super specific. I don't mean somebody calling me on the phone and telling me how to do stuff. I mean, I need somebody that will hold my hand and teach me how to do business, because I do not know any businessman that will come and hold my hand. And it wasn't 30 days, and a man called me, and I was standing in my office, and a man called me and he said, I hear you're looking for a job. And I said, well, I'm looking for any job. At that time, you're just kind of thinking, I got to figure out something. We're going down fast. Bill's not there. So, everybody's not secure. They don't know what's going to happen. And I'm grieving. Oh, I can't even remember. It was like I'd go to work and go home, go to work, go home. I was grieving so hard. And, but a man called me and he said, I heard you're looking for a job. And I said, well, I'm looking for any job. What you got? And he said, I'm looking for somebody that'll come and open for me and speak at my seminars. And I said, I'm not really what you want. I've only spoken in front of women's conventions and churches and ministries. And he said, can you speak in front of 200 people? And I said, yes. He said, can you speak in front of 20,000 people? And I said, yes. And he said, you're exactly what I'm looking for. He said, would you come and sit in one of my seminars? Now, I did not know him. To this day, David, we still do not know how he got my number. And I tried every way to find out.
Do you think that one of the success steps that you took was to not make a major decision quickly? Meaning you decided, I don't want to decide on the future of Bush Publishing until I've had some time to grieve and just kind of get through this period in my life. Because I wonder if sometimes people check out when, if they would just stick with it, they would come out on the other side like you have.
Yeah, I had to find my reason for living. My reason for living was all around and in what Bill and I did. I had to find my reason. Why was I here? My purpose. What was my purpose? Because I think that we all, as pastors' wives, we begin to do what our husband does, and we follow that vision and follow that plan, and we get very involved in that. And it becomes it's our vision, and it's our plan too. But now Bill's gone, and I really had to find my purpose. And of course, I found it in the Word. Isaiah 54, I lived in it. What does that say? It says that you'll not be ashamed of your widowhood. I am your maker. I am your God. I am your redeemer. I am yours. I am yours, Margo. I'm your redeemer. Follow me. I'll be the author and the finisher of your faith. No weapon formed against you will prosper. That's what it said to me. That God had a purpose for my life, and that my life wasn't over. That even though Bill had left and gone home, his journey was done. He'd done everything that God had called him to do. And I remember talking to him about it, he wasn't sick or anything, and we weren't planning on him going to heaven. But, he had always been very fulfilled that what he'd done. We built a church. We taught at Rhema. We had taught people all over the world, taught in Bible schools all over the world.
So even though God called the two of you into ministry and into starting Bush Publishing, it looks like it was God's plan for this to be your business to run.
It was.
Ultimately.
It was. It was the reason. I think back and I think, what if I had have had life insurance? I wouldn't have been doing, and I really wouldn't have been touching the people that I'm touching now, because now I coach kingdom entrepreneurs all over the world. We just went international and with our coaching company, and I would have never done that. I would have never coached churches like I'm coaching now. I had to learn how to build a business myself.
Your new book is entitled Dream Big, Live Big by you, Margo Bush. Whom did you have in mind when you wrote this book?
I had every small business owner just like me that believed God, loved God, had given, and that had a business that they really wanted to grow big because they wanted to help support the kingdom of God. I think that all kingdom entrepreneurs, that's why we're here, you know? We want to build the kingdom. We want to pay off churches. We want to help missionaries. And those are the people that I was thinking about because we were not taught how to build businesses. Just the whole system has not taught us how to really grow businesses. And there's a formula for success, and there's a formula for growing good businesses.
And so you have learned the hard way and the easy way, and you want to help others learn
I do.
the easiest way possible to succeed.
Absolutely.
In your preface, you write, "In my desperation to build a life and business that would support me and my family, I began to look for answers. Those answers are the basis of this book and the answers to the questions I hear every day from struggling business owners across this country. Principles that you, Margo, believe will turn any business around so it and our listeners can truly thrive." All right, so we're going to take a break and come back and discuss these different business principles that are contained in the book by Margo Bush entitled Dream Big, Live Big. I'm David Warren, your host, and we'll both be back after this. I'm David Warren, here with some exciting news for Oasis listeners. We have a new mobile device app. It's free, easy to download, and lets you enjoy our refreshing music and talk everywhere you go. If you have an Android cell phone, go to the Google Play Store. And if you have an iPhone or iPad, visit the Apple Store and search for Oasis Radio Network. Be an Oasis ambassador and share this news with family and friends around the world. Oasis Network. On today's program, Margo Bush is here. She is the co-founder, and I guess we'll just call you founder for the rest of this interview, of Bush Publishing. Your website is bushpublishing.com. And you have written a new book, as we've already discussed, Dream Big, Live Big. I am very pleased to interview you today because what appealed to me about this time together was somebody that had something major happen, really didn't have all the training that you needed, but you decided to not give up on your dream of making Bush Publishing a thriving publishing company, because it would have been very easy, as I said earlier, to go to the mall and fill out an application.
Yes.
But you said, no, I believe the Lord wants me to carry this on. So it's been over 2 decades. Are you glad you stuck with it?
I am so glad that I stuck with it. It was hard. I cannot tell you the amount of people that I feel like I never would have met, that I never would have gotten to minister to. And I used to think that in the 4 walls of my church, how many people, our church in Minden, Louisiana, that we first started, we ran 800 people for a while the city was really thriving and growing, and then settled around 500 people. But across the world, we ministered. And even that, the marketplace ministry that I feel I'm in, reaching the world and touching people I would have never touched inside the 4 walls of a church, is the most successful thing that I think I could ever have believed God for, or that God had given me. that I get to touch the lives of people. And this is a big thing, David, is that I get to really help them like God helped me to learn how to make money. God promises us prosperity, and there's a reason for that. And there's a way to build prosperity and success for us, for our families. And I also believe that there are too many single moms that are struggling. They need to be at home with their kids. They want to be at home. And this book is the opportunity for them to get the formula so that they can succeed and thrive.
Again, the book is entitled Dream Big, Live Big by Margo Bush. I know it's available through your website, bushpublishing.com. Is that the best place to get the book?
Yes, for right now. It's getting ready to go on Amazon. We've just released it, so it'll be on Amazon and anywhere books are sold.
Okay, so chapter 1, in this chapter, you say, if you're going to live big, you must first dream bigger than you've ever dreamed before. And so I did a little funny twist on Proverbs 23:7 because it made me think of that scripture. And I came up with this, Margo. As business people think, so do their businesses become. Let's talk about your thinking journey. So Bill had suddenly passed away. You decide to stick with the publishing company. What did you have to do with your thinking and dreaming?
I tell you, in order to grow, whether it's in your personal life or your business, you must stay present and future. And it is a fight, especially when you're grieving. But when you stay present and future, because all of your success and all of your money is in the future. It's not looking back and worrying about and grieving. And so the Lord specifically spoke to me. I was grieving so much all day long that I couldn't work. And the Lord specifically, and nobody even taught me, but I heard the Lord say, I don't want you to think about Bill until after 5 every day. Now I know that there's a principle, a business principle, a life principle about that, because it kept me in the past. It kept me, thinking about him and the hurt.
Because you were in a catch-22, because it is healthy to grieve following such a loss, but at the same time, you've got to pay the bills.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody's going to do it for me now. Nobody.
I think that's great advice.
And so the Lord spoke to me and he said, don't think about Bill until after 5. And it caused me to just settle down. I mean, the minute I woke up, I was thinking about Bill and what am I going to do, what I'm going to do. That stopped under the obedience of God, of the Lord speaking to me. I've later realized it is a principle to successful growth and living big. If you want to live big, you've got to start living present and future. What are you looking for? What is God saying to you? What is the plan God has for you? It's not back there. It's up here. God's always looking ahead. If you think about it, God's always looking ahead.
Margo Bush is with us today. I'm David Warren, your host, and in chapter 2, she says, because life and business will go wrong, I can verify that, you have to be ready to dig deep to pursue your dreams. So what does digging deep look like?
Digging deep means that you need to look and see what are the things that you're missing and identify what's not going right. I mean, I don't know why. I always just said, okay, I'm smart enough. There's all these millionaires and billionaires out there. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Now, God is promising us a lot. We know the word. I've preached it. He's promised us success and prosperity and blessing. Okay, I'm just thinking, I'm not that stupid. I can figure this out. So digging deep for me was, where is it that I'm missing it? Where is it that it's gone too long to where I am not seeing success? And so I began to get some education. I mean, I didn't know how to grow business. So I went and I found somebody that I prayed, first of all, and God brought me somebody and taught me how to do business.
All right. Chapter 3, you say it's when we rise to the occasion that great things can happen in our lives and in our businesses. And you gave different examples of people who rose to the occasion. You mentioned Mary Kay Ash. You mentioned Helen Beatrix Potter, her first book, The Tale of Peter Rabbit.
Amazing.
And also a lady from the Bible, Lydia of Purple. So, okay, out of these three ladies, which one would you like to talk about? You just gave a thumb up on that third one.
Well, I did. Of course, I love Helen because just the amazing story that is all about her in a time where women did not write books. And in fact, they called her book a little bunny book. We'll just see if it's going to be okay. If it'll do anything, we don't expect it. And it was a real man's world. And all of a sudden, everybody bought it. And now it's still available all over the world. But I specifically love Lydia because, of course, I love the Word of God and I love the stories of the Bible. And Lydia was a woman that really didn't know, but was led by God. Could she have really thought that she was going to be a part of the church, of helping Paul, build the church? But she got born again, and she was traveling, and all of a sudden she meets Paul, and she gets born again. Her family begins to take care of Paul, and then there's a church that comes out of it. And I just think that sometimes if we would just look around us and how God really leads us, and if we just allow Him, He will do it. He will lead us if we pay attention. And I think that's what I did, is I leaned. Some people thought, well, you're not pastoring a church anymore, because that's all I knew. And what are you doing, Margo? And there was a real time there that I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I began to work with a gentleman, and he began to teach me how to speak in front of business people. And all of a sudden, it just makes that turn to where now I'm teaching and speaking to businessmen and women about kingdom entrepreneur stuff all the time. But at the time, if you just follow God, there's probably the greatest message that stayed close to me was Brother Hagin's message on how to be led by the Spirit of God. If there's one message that I kept so dear and close to me, even as I pastored, there's something about being led by the Spirit of God that resonated when I was a student at Rhema that I took after Bill died, and I trusted Him that He would lead me and He would guide me. And even when it didn't seem like that was the way to go, I heard it here and I would listen inside, because I would remember Brother Hagin saying, is that if you'll follow what God is saying and listen close. So that's what I did. I listened to Him and I followed Him. And I believe that Lydia, even when she didn't know, God has your life in His hands if you will trust Him, really trust Him. And I think if there's anything I can say is He said that I could trust Him like my own husband. If you think about it, it's even better than having a husband because He's the ruler of the universe. He's the King of glory. And I trusted that. So much so that I would say, Lord, if I get off, if I go a different direction, it is up to You to make sure I know I'm on the wrong path. And I trusted that. I trusted Him because I couldn't trust myself. I'm grieving. My emotions are all over the place, but I listened to Him and I expected Him that if He needed to change my course, He would. And it really paid off.
We're talking about Margo Bush's book, Dream Big, Live Big. And right under the title, it says, How Having the Proper Tools and Proper Business Principles Changed My Life, Business, Increased Sales, and Provided Financial Security. And you say you can learn it too.
Yes, you can. It's simple. But nobody taught me. Nobody teaches. I have it every day. Nobody teaches the simple principles and formula that will get you from where you are to where you want to be. We're just guessing. So much of the time in business, we're just guessing because we don't know the simple steps. The first one is right out of the Word of God in Habakkuk 2. Write the vision and make it plain. I'm telling you what, David, it's so powerful for us to write down the vision and make it plain. And the Lord said there in Habakkuk, write it down, make it plain so somebody else can run with you. Now, how plain has that got to be? Because we get it all in our head and we might have it all here and we have it in our heart and we follow, but do we have it down? It says there in Habakkuk, and the Lord gave a very clear commandment to him. Write the vision and make it plain.
Okay, the book is available through the website bushpublishing.com. Also check wherever books are sold.
Yes.
We're going to take a break. I'm David Warren, your host, and when we come back, Margo and I are going to talk about relating to and working with the different categories or types of business people, because there are different kinds of people.
Yes.
Not only in just life, but in business. And they break down into 4 categories: the aggressor, the analyst, the expressive business person, and the giver. So, Margo, as we go to break, which one do you think I am? David Warren here.
I believe that you're either knowing you just a little bit, either right between that analyst and expressive. I think that you fall right in there.
All right. I will reveal my answer after this.
The Road Show is a listener favorite, which airs each weekday here on the Oasis Radio Network, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Central. The Road Show also has a great section on our website, oasisnetwork.org. There you'll find audio archives of select past interviews, plus guest lineup, and contact information and links to our Roadshow sponsors and its hosts. So join us for the Roadshow, whether on your radio or on your computer at oasisnetwork.org.
Margo Bush is our guest on today's program. She is the author of Dream Big, Live Big. And at the top of the book, it says, this is one of the best resources for small business owners and entrepreneurs that want to grow and succeed. The book is available through her website, bushpublishing.com, and wherever books are sold. And so you can check that out after today's program. I am David Warren, your host. And Margo, what's it like to be a woman in the business world?
Well, I tell you, it has been such a blessing to me. I know that it hasn't been that way for everybody. There is a lot of women that feel like that they're not noticed or they're not given the opportunities that they feel that they deserve. And I agree with that. They don't. But now women are being encouraged to lean into their space, lean in to just being a woman. I have personally never experienced really that tough of a place. I don't know if it's because I really trust God to go before me and prepare the way. And I pray. And he always does. And so what can I say? It's been a beautiful thing for me. I think that there's a lot of opportunities for women and how women are, and I use those opportunities because people love. I actually have more pastors that hire me to coach them and their church than sometimes they'll hire a man. I don't know if it's because of that I can talk to them. I get right down to it.
Well, a quote right from your book that you said, I have always been in the people business. And so now let's talk about relating to and working with business people. And I mentioned before the break, Margo, that just like people have different personalities, business people have different personalities or ways that they do business and relate to others. And the way you relate to these different types of people, the success rate is going to depend on how much you understand how his or her brain works.
Exactly.
Okay, let's mention the first one, the aggressor.
Yes, the aggressor. Well, I think that a lot of people can identify with an aggressor. I usually try to put somebody that everybody knows, and we know that President Donald Trump, he would be categorized as an aggressor. And the reason is and most people misunderstand aggressors. They think that they don't like people. And actually, that is not true. They actually love people very, very much. It's just that they have a direction that they feel everybody should go and that they would be successful if they went that way. And so there's a little bit of plowing the ground. I say it like this, is that you're in a jungle and you take a plow and you're trying to plow a road. And aggressor is usually the one that says, really love you, and but we need everybody out of the way, and if somebody's in the way, well, we're sorry for the casualty, but you need to get out of the way. And it's not that they don't love people. They do. It's just that they've got a plan, a very focused plan.
Tunnel vision?
A tunnel vision. Very tunnel vision. And they get a lot done.
All right. So before the break, I had you guess which one of these 4 categories of business people I would fall into, and you nailed it.
Good.
You basically said, I'm an analyst with expressive leanings.
Yes.
Okay. Well, the analyst is very analytical and thorough. And I'm going to read from your book. Here's how you relate to an analyst. As you interact with this type of person, you will find these types of purchasers or clients are slower to part with their money and make decisions if you do not give them a detailed process of your product or service. They require a great deal of information with statistics to accept a claim. In addition, be formal and logical. Normally, analysts do not welcome physical contact unless they invite it, so limit such contact to handshakes. The analyst hears you best when you use terms such as precise, logical, tested, and proven. As you speak with them, focus on key points such as product ratings, consumer reviews, testimonials, and other solid studies. These elements will help speed up their decision-making process. And then the third type of business person category that we need to learn how to work with this person to have the most successful business interaction is the expressive. And my guest today, Margo Bush, is one of these. And so what's it like being an expressive, Margo?
It's very challenging because it's very hard for business owners that are expressive to make any money. You know, the saying is that expressives can make a lot of money, they just can't keep it. And so I really had to learn how to be more of an aggressor to run a business. And as a result, by the end of my first year, I'd paid off all the equipment in my building and we were profitable. But it really took me training myself. Expressives are very fly by the night. We enjoy people. First thing, you get a big paycheck, let's go on a vacation. You get a big paycheck and you go buy stuff. That's an expressive for you. There are people, but they're great salespeople. Hire every expressive you can if you've got a business. They are great salespeople and they'll make you a lot of money. It's just that if you're an expressive and you don't train yourself how to manage a business, it can close pretty quick.
It sounds like you need elements of all 4 of these people.
You really do in your business. So this is what I do. I decided that I am not going to be an analyst. I mean, I knew I wasn't. I can statistics, and I mean, I love statistics, but bookkeepers are great analysts. They're analysts. But I'm not going to sit in front of a computer and look at books all day long. So I trained myself to be an aggressor, and then I hired an analyst. And then I hire givers. Everybody should have a giver in their business.
Well, let's talk about what a giver is, but I'm seeing why you would have to be an aggressor in some respect because you're the head of the company.
Yeah. You have to begin to have tunnel vision, and you've got to be goal-minded. You've got to make sure that, the product is clear. Everything is laid out, and that's what aggressors do. They really stay very focused on where they're going to go and what they need to get there.
So was it a smart move on your part to figure out what you were out of these four and what you weren't and hire that person instead of trying to become somebody you're not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very good, David. You have to, because I knew early on I was not going to be an analyst. I knew that part in me, and I do have business owners that they're analysts and they have to become aggressors because otherwise they make no money. And so expressives, they make money. Analysts have a very difficult time making money. And so because they're especially givers too. Givers, if you're a giver, it's tough because they love to lay back and enjoy people, be kind and gracious. They need a little bit of aggressor in them.
Well, to my left is a giver. His name is Tim Maroney. Everybody knows who Tim is here on the Road Show because he's been here for how many years? 28 years, Tim? He's thinking.
Yeah.
28 years.
28.
But you need the givers.
You need all four personalities in your business. In order to grow and be successful, you really need all four personalities. And you definitely need a personality that's opposite of yours. And you'll butt heads, but you have to learn and you have to teach. Not only if I was in your business, David, I would have to learn your personality. You would need to learn my personality, and I would need to learn how to work with you the best way. Because you're not going to think like me. In fact, it's going to frustrate the heck out of you the way I think. And it's going to frustrate the heck out of me the way you think. But I have to have you. But I think that's God. Because God expected us to have relationships and build relationships. What if we just all could do it all by ourselves? It's not God. He wants a family.
Okay, chapter 5 from the book, Dream Big, Live Big by Margo Bush. You say, before you can achieve big things in business, you must change how you think about the numbers of doing business. Does this have to do with math?
Yeah, isn't that terrible? Yes, it has to do with math because numbers are number one. Statistics, how your numbers work, where you're going. I mean, if there's anything that I deal with all my business owners that come to me is they don't know their numbers. They don't know how much revenue, how much profit. They just don't know. And so we have to break it down. And I understand that it's not really something that most of it, that's not why we started a business. Oh, yay, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to learn all about math. That's not why we start. We start a business because we're passionate about what we do. But there's elements of a business that you have to have in order to grow and be successful. And if you're only on one side, if you only lean to one side, your business will close. Or you'll just keep going in a loop constantly. And that loop is you'll go up and you'll come down. And you'll go up in your numbers and come down. And you'll sell some and then you won't. And then you just stay in that loop. A lot of churches do that. They just stay in that loop. You have to know your numbers.
Speaking of churches, because you were a co-pastor as well as a co-founder of Bush Publishing, you wrote in the book, Dream Big, Live Big, It was ironic. My husband and I had built a very successful church, yet somehow for me, what we knew how to do in ministry work did not translate into growing a successful for-profit business. I struggled to understand the comparison. So, what was your aha moment?
I am so glad you asked, because so many people don't really and I could not figure out how it connected, and yet it all connected, because every organization is built on a structure. It's a formula. You've got to have marketing. You have to have sales. Now, in church, we don't like the word sales. We're selling, and we're selling the gospel. We want people to understand the gospel. Sales, marketing, we have a product, a service. We have to take care of our books, whether we're for-profit or non-profit. And I didn't understand that whether you're a church, a ministry, or a business, it's all built on the same foundation. It's just that we have a different industry and we serve people in a different way. And so I kind of look at it as layers. This is our foundation. This is our concrete. And then the people that we speak to, minister to, sell to, have a product for, that's kind of our second layer.
You mentioned that you do what's called business coaching. Who needs a business coach?
I believe that every business owner needs a business coach, no matter what size. And you'll see that more wealthy business owners have a coach. Because to get you from where you are to where you want to be, there is a tunnel there that's most of the time we cannot see. Now, if you're a small business owner and you've been in that loop and you're not creating revenue and you don't have any profit, then you need a business coach. And we'll teach you how to do business. We'll teach you the formula, because there is a formula.
Sometimes I don't want to use the term worry, but I'm concerned that I might be just coasting and not growing. Is that where a business coach would come in?
Absolutely. Yes, we'll get you out. That coach will help you see how to get to your vision, because inside of you, you have a vision. You have a goal. You have where you want your business or your company or your radio station to go. And you'll stay in that loop without a coach, because we call it the jump. There's a place where you have to take the jump. And so most small business owners just stay in the loop, because when they get to the place where they need to take the jump
to go to the next level,
they don't know how to do it.
And that's where someone like you comes in.
That's where we come in.
So people can reach out to you for business coaching as well.
Yes.
Through your website, bushpublishing.com. Can that be done over the phone or by Skype?
You can call me directly, and I will give you my phone number. I am an open book.
All right, give it to us.
405-492-2805. That's 405-492-2805. And David, I would love for them to even email me. And if they're emailing me for coaching, they can email me at Dr. Margo, Dr. Margo, at ddbacoaching.com. That stands for Don't Do Business Alone. ddbacoaching.com.
Is that on your website, this information?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Because I know someone going down the road needs to hear bushpublishing.com.
Yes.
Everybody can remember that.
Everybody can remember it.
Okay, we're going to take one final break and come back for some final thoughts from our very special guest today, Margo Bush, author of the new book, Dream Big, Live Big, available where books are sold, also on that same website, bushpublishing.com. Back after this. I'm David Warren, Program Director at Oasis Radio Network and one of the hosts of this podcast. All of our hosts enjoy hearing from you, our listening family, so drop us a note. Our email address is roadshow@oasisnetwork.org. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and you'll receive new episodes on your mobile devices. And now, back to the show. I'm David Warren, and I have to say, that this analyst with aggressor leanings, with a little bit of expressive in him when it comes to being a businessman, business person, this guy has really enjoyed his guest, Margo Bush, the author of the new book, Dream Big, Live Big. You've lived it, and now you're living the dream.
I'm living the dream.
So what does living big look like to you, Margo?
Living big to me is reaching and teaching 1 million business owners how to grow businesses. It was from the very beginning. I felt like I heard the Lord in 2010, and he said, I hear the cry of my people, and I want to fix what is broken. And for me, it was what was broken in me, is that I didn't know how to build a business that God had given me. And he taught me. He sent the right people at the right time, and he taught me how to dig deep and shore up the things that I didn't know and get the people that I needed to help me learn how to grow a successful organization so that I could fulfill my purpose in helping other people grow. And so that's what living big to me is helping 1 million people and business owners learn how to grow successful organizations that make money, because we need money to provide for the kingdom of God.
That's right. And so this is a starting point that somebody would read this book, Dream Big, Live Big, and it's available on your website, bushpublishing.com, plus you can look online in other places. Again, Margo Bush is the author, Dream Big, Live Big. And when you go to bushpublishing.com, you will also see information on the business coaching.
Yes.
And then you said something during that short break that we just took. Entrepreneur, what was that?
Kingdom Entrepreneurs. Kingdom Entrepreneurs, it's kind of new to me because I started hearing it several years ago, and I thought, I am that person. I'm a kingdom entrepreneur. I remember Brother Hagin at some seminar, he said the greatest ministry in the last days will be the marketplace ministries. And I never in a million years thought I would be really involved in the marketplace ministry because I was a pastor's wife in the four walls of a church. That's what I knew how to do. But kingdom entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs that are building businesses, being led by the Spirit of God, being led by the Word of God, and learning how to build big businesses that make money, create revenue, and increase profits so we can take that money and flood it into the kingdom.
You mentioned a 405 area code number. Would you repeat your number for people who want to reach out to you?
Yes, it's 405-492-2805.
All right, one more time on that number.
405-492-2805.
And your website is bushpublishing.com. And by the way, I want to publicly thank you for helping me land the interview with Kelly Nealon Clark of the Nealons.
You're welcome.
Because her book is with your publishing company.
We're publishing, and listen, we're publishing authors and Christian writers and pastors. We want to fill it up. We work from concept to completion.
Okay.
If you have never written a book and you have, I coach authors. I coach them how to start their book. I take pastors' tapes and we transcribe it. So from concept to completion, David.
We are out of time. It's been a blast. Your website is bushpublishing.com. For Margo Bush, I'm David Warren, and it's been another great roadshow.
Thank you.
You've been listening to The Roadshow. If you'd like to write to us, here's our address. The Roadshow, P.O. Box 1924, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 74101. Our email address is roadshow@oasisnetwork.org. The views of today's guest aren't necessarily those of this station, but we do appreciate and thank our guest for spending this time with us. The Roadshow, an Oasis Network presentation.